Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Because today I'm going to give you guys a parts update on the Grand Am project. I'm going to show you what I've done so far and what I'm about to do today. I didn't really document this whole process the way that I did the tech because, for one, same engine, you guys have seen a lot of these procedures done. And two, I did a lot of the stuff at school recently because, the school has more tools. I was able to actually, get some more advice and whatnot. So I managed to get a lot of stuff done at school with the free time that we've had, like after class and whatnot. So let me start with the heads. So here's our engine heads. You guys saw the video where we cleaned them up. But now they are fully ready to go. The bottoms have been sanded down. They were checked. Both heads were checked for warpage, and these heads are straight. Good to know. So the car didn't overheat that bad to have to replace the heads. So these heads are pretty much ready to go. Got all of the gasket surfaces on the top, bottom. They're all sanded down. So there's the one head. This is the back head, judging from the studs. I'll wipe them down once more, obviously, before they go back on the car. Here's the bottom of that one. So yeah, all the gasket surfaces are smooth as glass. We got the stud out, broken exhaust stud, so the head is safe. That was a cool trick. We welded it off, so that was pretty fun. In this bag, we have all of our lifters. The lifters were terrible on the inside. I did find the culprit, and it was one of our number 5 lifters. As you can see in this picture here, the one lifter is kind of it's kind of pushed further down. So we took it apart, and it looked like the insides of the lifter had varnished, is what they called it. So it basically got stuck, lack of lubrication, and yeah, so I basically, after that, I ended up tearing apart all of these lifters, all 12 lifters, and I cleaned out all of the what I refer to now as intermix, where the oil and coolant are together. So cleaned out all of that from the bottom of all of the lifter components. Soaked them in brake clean. Actually put like a kind of like an emery cloth type thing. Cleaned out all of the actual lifter cavities and whatnot. Filled them up with a little tiny bit of oil and put them back together. So they are all cleaned up. Any dirt that's on them now is from the bag because they're in the same bag. But before they go in the car, we're gonna soak them, all of them, in clean oil for a few days or whatnot. That way we'll get oil in them already before we put them back into the engine block and go from there. So hopefully these are still going to be okay. Hopefully the one that was seized up is going to be okay. But from what I was told, they all looked good before I put them back together, and I was told that we probably shouldn't have any issues with them. So that should be the end of the lifter saga, I hope. The valves you can't really see because they are bagged, but I cleaned up the valves via a wire wheel. I'll just try to pull them out here. You can see the oily stuff in the bag, but all of our valves, you can kind of see, tried to get all the carbon off of them. So they have a small shine to them when they're not in the bag. You guys will see what these actually look like, as we do the reassembly of the head. But all 12 valves were also cleaned, so we're good in that department. So all of these, for the most part, are ready to go once I get the head gasket kit. It obviously all starts with the seals to get the valves and the valve springs and whatnot back in, and that's going to be coming with our head gasket kit. So there's all that. Those are good to go. If we walk over to the porch, I did start to sand down the plenum. got the writing off of it. This one's not cleaning up as well as the one on the Aztec did. You can just see in some spots it's shinier than others. So yeah, I mean, and down here it's not really cleaning up. There's too much oxidation on this particular plenum here. So I'm actually thinking about painting it. I think I'm just going to get that silver paint that I used, that metallic paint, and I'm thinking about painting it this time. The only reason why I didn't want to really go through with painting is because I don't know how long that paint's going to last through heat cycles and whatnot. I'm not going to paint arm and a leg for expensive heat paint. I'm just going to buy the Rust-Oleum and probably just paint it, you know, silver. I thought about doing it another color, but the Grand Am is green, and I don't want to paint it green. If I paint it blue or red or something, I feel like it's still not going to match up to what that color is over there. So I think I'm just going to keep it silver. It's going to be like a bright metallic silver. It was actually a pretty awesome color when I put it on some of the Aztec parts. So we're going to do that, I think, which means I'm going to have to clean some more of this off. You can see as I'm rubbing my fingers around, more of the aluminum shavings and whatnot are coming off on my fingers. As far as the inside, I did try to clean out the inside a little bit. I soaked it in the basement in some purple power, and I did use the brush to try to scrub out the inside. Still have to sand the surfaces down, which is one of the things I'm doing today. Probably going to paint our valve covers also. They're still pretty clean. There's some little bit of rusting in there because of the that's a metal, you know, plate in there, not aluminum. So we'll have to wipe that down before we get the oil in it, or put it back on the car. But they're still clean. And like I said, I'm probably going to paint these also. If I'm painting that, might as well paint that. We're going to do work on the actual intake today. It is still pretty disgusting if we carefully flip it over. So because I got the injectors off of it this time, I'm going to clean it the same way I did the heads. We're going to use the aluminum wheel and tire cleaner and an old toothbrush and the hose. So I'm not too concerned about the top. You're not going to see any of this. I might try to clean this off because this part is somewhat seen. But all this, I don't care. I'm not going to paint this particular item. If I do paint it, maybe it'll just be around the edges. I don't know. But I just want to get all of the, you know, gunk and stuff off of the inside of that. We have to take the water neck off first. That's connecting, you know, this pipe here and whatnot. Thermostat's still inside, and I didn't get to see what the thermostat looks like yet. So we're going to get our sockets. I think those were 13s, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to take that off. Got to put it on the cardboard, and we'll see what that is. The coolant temp sensor is also in that. I might take that off too because I'm going to be spraying this with water. So I might take that off as well. What else? What else? Up here in the actual Grand Am, our engine is still looking good. It's been a little over a week, I think, since I've been back out here, and you know, the oil is keeping things from rusting. Oh, there's a little spider in there. See? Oh, nice. Anyway, soon enough, this will be put back together. Should be real soon, I hope. Cash flow is kind of short, you know, being part-time back in school, not working as much, mortgage, 2 car payments, utilities. Kind of sucks. It's a little bit rough. So, getting everything for this, you know, is going to come soon. I'm just hoping it's going to be as soon as I want it to be. Oh, let's get our 13 and take that water neck off. 2 more bolts I had wish I had taken off while the intake was still attached to the car, but we got it. Alright, So this will eliminate all this for the time being. How's the thermostat look? She's stuck in there. There we go. I don't think it looks bad. I think we can still use it. Clean up that corrosion around there. But I think it's alright. So that should be fine. I'm kind of afraid to take this sensor out. I might find something to kind of cover up these connectors instead. Okay, so here we go. So we got our water neck off. I found some piece of a plastic baggie and I tied a rubber band around it to keep water from getting in there. That should be good enough. Because I really don't want to risk trying to ruin the threads on that sensor while this thing is out of the car. We've got all of our bolts off, which I will also be wiping down. I'm probably not going to spray them with water because I don't want those to rust. I probably could have removed this pipe, but I don't know if it's going to want to come off or go back in, or so I'm not going to disrupt that. It is a metal pipe. You can see it's already kind of rusting some. I don't think it's going to leak anytime soon. So I'm going to leave it as is because I don't want to mess with that seal. Alright, so now we can safely flip it over with all the components off of it. And we can get to cleaning. I'm not going to time lapse this one. You guys already know what I'm going to do with it. This is our before. We'll spray some stuff on it. It's not as dirty as the Aztec was. You guys remember the Aztec? It was completely black. That's what leads me to think that this engine was actually taken care of before this intake leak. It really doesn't look all that bad. But that's it for a few seconds. Whoop. And then we get to scrubby. Alright guys, so this is what we got. Now this is the top half. This is going to be the front half of the engine. Thermostat, water neck. I didn't sand anything down yet, but I tried to clean around the sides here because you do see some of this section here, even with the valve cover. You're going to see some of this with the plenum on top. Kind of like that. So try to clean up some of the grime. It's just, there's just too much to get off the top. So that's why I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time on the top side. You're not going to see a lot of this stuff anyway. But our bottom side, as you can see, is done. Tried getting the carbon and sludge buildup on the insides taken care of, but it too is just a little too thick to get through. But I think it'll be alright. It's not really going to harm anything. I mean, a decent amount came out, but it's not going to be perfect. But so this is done. I just have to get my sanding block, and I can start sanding, all the sides and whatnot. And then that should be it for this, really. I don't think there's anything else I got to do. Most of the reassembly is going to happen on the car. I'm probably going to put the thermostat and the water neck back on when it's out. It is easier to deal with those two bolts, when it's out of the car. So I'm going to dry this off with these shop towels, and then I'll sand down these gasket surfaces, and then we can call this done. I have to sand the surfaces on that also. But if I'm painting that, I don't know if I want to do it before or after the paint, because, well, I'm going to put tape over top of the surfaces, obviously. But yeah, so this is what we got as far as our actual intake goes. I got splatter all over the other things, but since I'm painting them, why does it matter? Alright guys, so here's what we got. I just finished sanding down our top ports on the intake. They got a shine. You might still see some of these markings, but you can't feel them. That's all that counts. So as long as they are smooth, they're gold. Same thing with the bottom. So, oh, the sides where the valve covers meet. You can see, like I said, the smooth, they're good. And all of our bottom surfaces here, our bottom ports, our actual intake gasket ports here. Actually, there's nothing there. This one, because our leak was coming from the gasket on one of these sides here. I think it was this one. Smooth, good to go. So that's our intake. Looks a lot better than it did when I first brought it out here. And the only thing I have left to do sanding wise is sanding all of the gasket surfaces on the plenum. And those look a little crusty. So all of that's going to be sanded down. I'm sanding down the throttle body, gasket surface, and I'm going to maybe do something with the EGR. I don't think I have to. I might. That's it. Those are the only surfaces I think that are gasket prone. So then I can call these done and go get the paint, tape this stuff off, and give them a new metallic look. Alright, so I got our water neck put back on, got the bolts tightened. I don't want to over tighten those, obviously it's going into aluminum, but cleaned out the thermostat housing a little bit before I put the thermostat back on, and got the bolts in and snug. We should be able to get this back in the car the same way we took it out. Plenum is good on both sides now. Did do a little bit of the EGR gasket surface, but it still has some marks. And I did the throttle body, but you can see there's actually some really hard gasket there. I didn't bring my actual scraper or blade up, so I'm going to have to get the blade and touch that up a little bit. So that's where we are at the moment. Alright, so I've decided to start the painting process. I don't really care. You know, I cleaned up the surfaces. You see a little bit of stuff got back on it. If it doesn't look good, then it doesn't look good. You know, I'm not going to put primer over it this time. I didn't really, well yeah, I put primer in the other parts that I did, but I'm not putting primer on this. We're just going to spray it with whatever is left of this. There might be enough here to get through this and the valve covers. We'll find out. But you know, if it doesn't look good in the end, you know, it's just a plenum. The paint's not going to hurt anything. If it cracks or comes off over time because of the heat, oh well. I can always get another plenum. I can always get other valve covers. So my challenge here is this leans. I don't think it's going to be that bad. We're just going to try and do our even coat, you know, just and see how it looks. I masked off all of the important ports with threads and whatnot. These things here. I'm not painting the bottom, but I did put tape over our gasket surfaces just in case. That too. So she's ready to go. So let's see how it turns out. Hopefully it turns out alright. So here's the first coat of it. It really does give it a world of difference. It's going to need a second coat. But I tried to evenly put it, you know, around the bottoms. A little bit on the sides. I don't see any run spots, but you can see a certain, you know, some certain areas in the aluminum that are raised and whatnot, but that's alright. Wow. That looks pretty cool. So while we're waiting for that to get dry, we'll do our valve covers also. Well, I tried to take the screws out, couldn't get them out. Tried to mask over them, couldn't do that either. So we're going to have metallic looking screws also. That looks pretty cool actually. Yeah, that looks neat. Alright, now let's do the front one. And here's our front valve cover. Those are going to look sweet. Might be easier to keep clean. Might be easier to not keep clean either because they're brighter. But the surfaces being painted, they'll probably be a little smoother so you can wipe dirt and stuff off of them. Might be easy to tell if there are any new leaks. That's an advantage. Now this. I was thinking, since we're doing that, maybe... See, because you're gonna you see this part usually on the car. I know you'll see this. I'm really thinking about doing this water neck because that's gonna stick out. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this. Because yeah, you can definitely tell a world of difference now. I probably shouldn't have done this. Now I'm gonna want to paint every component on the engine, but we're not. So let me give this some thought, and we'll see what we come up with. Alright, so I gave in and just decided to spray down the whole intake. It's like, well, that pipe looks better, I'll tell you that. Yeah, just it was a light coating. It's not like I really doused anything there because I left the fuel injector ports open. But that's alright, I can always kind of ream those out a little bit. Here's our water neck, which is ready for a second coat. Looks pretty good with the first coat, but I'm gonna do a second coat anyway. Kind of had it sitting here against that bottle. And these have had second coats, and I'm gonna give them another look over, but I like the texture of this front valve cover. That looks sweet. Texture on it. The back valve cover is smooth. It doesn't have that texture except for where an old sticker was. But that looks pretty cool. I like that. I know everything kind of looks the same right now, obviously, because it's all been painted, but you know, once other parts are on, like the cap, hoses, other bolts and whatnot, it'll look a little different, obviously. But I don't know, it's gonna look cool, I guess. I just decided to do all this because it was a hassle just trying to paint the front side and over the top and the hose, and I was like, I might as well just cover the entire thing. So that's where we are with that. I'll let it sit for a little longer. I'll give it a second coat and then get ready to call it a night. It's, what time is it? It's getting darker sooner now. You know, that time of year. 6:54. 7 o'clock. And it's weird because there's those wildfires going on out on the west coast at this time, and it sucks, and my heart goes out to everybody who's out there, who's losing, you know, lives, property. I'm sorry, my heart goes out to all you guys, but the smoke has been traveling as far as out here in Ohio, so our sunrises and sunsets have like an eerie, gloomy look to them, especially over the sun. The sun itself looks very eerie. So yeah, anyway, that's what's going on. Yeah. Alright, so I took all the tape off, and this is pretty much our final product. So you can see just with, you know, the different little other pieces on there, it makes it all kind of stand out oil caps in the house. Yeah. So yeah, it's just gonna get dirty real fast once I start putting everything back together. That's gonna be the bad part. However, I'm hoping, like I said, with it just being paint, you know, I could probably wipe it off a little bit easier, I hope. But it looks pretty cool. So that's pretty much it. So, yeah. As far as over here, like I showed you guys earlier, all we really gotta do is sand down the block, clean up, you know, the rest of this stuff here. I want to kind of drain all that crap out of the block too. So we might be trying to open up those coolant passages on the block, front and back, because that stuff's nasty. We gotta try to flush that out of there if I can, very carefully. But that's it. I wasn't able to go pick the parts that I wanted to do today, but it's alright. We will do that sometime this week. See this here, I mean this aluminum here, we could paint that, but that whole assembly is attached to the block itself, and I'm not taking that off, so it's gonna have some funny looking spots now that I painted all that, but it's alright. Those main big pieces there that go on top are what you're gonna see first and foremost. So that's it. We're gonna get ready to call it a night. So we're getting closer. Hopefully real soon I'll be able to get this thing back together. But things are moving along very quickly. All of the engine parts clean. We still have to clean the rocker arms, and we still have to clean the push rods. I'm not doing those until it's real close to going back into the engine. You have to put those in with the heads on, obviously, because the push rods have to go on after the intake gaskets. So heads have to be on and the intake gaskets have to be in place. Then you can put your push rods in, and those have to be held down by the rockers. So we'll wait to clean those up as we get closer to putting it back together. This block, I think, is going to be my next step, and that's it. A lot of the top end stuff's already done. So if you guys enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Check out teespring.com/store/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. That's it. That's all I got for tonight. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.